Welcome back, LEGO builders and Minecrafters, to episode 2 of building Mumbo's Season 8 base out of LEGO. So from the last episode, there are a couple of changes that you can see throughout the mock, some of them being, you can see Mumbo Jumbo there sitting in his little pool floaty. So you can see Mumbo Jumbo there, and also I've added Green over here to Sahara. The other minifigures are coming, I am just missing the heads to them, so they should be on their way fairly soon. And that's another thing to keep in mind. I have, I think, over 15 Bricklink orders now on their way coming here. So you have to keep in mind that I'm kind of waiting for parts and waiting for those things to arrive so then I can actually do the things that I want to do. Now, probably one of the largest differences that you saw is this hand crank right here. And I did see a couple of comments on it in the last episode, and it was about, are you going to be building a mechanism or some sort of opening system for opening up into that storage area and that sort of thing that would be behind the waterfall? And so the answer is, I wasn't originally going to be doing anything. It was just going to be a really simple sliding on tiles sort of thing and not really anything mechanical. But then I decided I haven't really done anything too mechanical with LEGO at all, so I put together this gear shaft, or shaft, I don't really know what it's called, but at the end here is this beautiful hand crank that I made, so you can spin it, and that's where all of the rotational energy is going to be coming from. So it's quite a simple little hand crank, and it fits nicely into the wall right here, right next to that creepy Grumbot. So anyway, that hand crank or shaft moves all the way back there, crosses over the base plate there, so I'll have to make a little detachment section right there. And then it comes to this sort of gear box thing, so this will double or triple the rotation, because obviously that first gear there, the one on the entryway, is a lot bigger, that gray gear right there. Then the one coming out of it, that little tan gear, is much smaller, so it's kind of like the create mod in the gear sense of things, and so that the speed of the rotation coming out over there is much quicker than the speed here. So hopefully that should speed up any process that I have over here. And now it's probably going to be a little bit difficult to explain, so I'm probably not going to talk about it too much until I have all the parts that I ordered, but I'm basically going to have these linear actuators, I think they're called, that will move in and out, that will push the waterfall forwards. And then hopefully I can also build in a slope sort of thing where it gets pushed forwards and then also comes out, so the waterfall will move in and then to the side. So hopefully I can make that work and make it look really cool, but it's gonna be very hard to describe to you all. And now some minor things that I worked on are these little kind of boxes. I'm gonna put another one on the other side here, but in both of those boxes I am going to be putting some sort of battery pack or light thing, so then I can have some lights coming up and maybe lighting up these areas. I'm definitely going to have lights in Mumbo's hobbit hole, but I don't know where I might need lighting elsewhere. I might even light up the rest of the build up here. So we'll see, and I'll have these nice little battery pack kind of areas where I'll be able to put all of the lighting. So before we jump into our first time lapse here to do a little bit more building up and doing some of the structure underneath, I have a pretty massive Bricklink order that just arrived today. So as it seems to go with all really big Bricklink orders, this one was also from Germany. It just so happens that basically every single one of my really large Bricklink orders are from Germany. I don't know why Germany's hogging all the parts, but I guess they are. So if we just slice off the tape here, and I think there's one more side over here, I believe. So if we slice here and get all of this off, hopefully this will open up pretty well, and hopefully you guys have a good angle of that. But, oh, dang it. So sad there's not a big reveal there, but at least there's a little bit of paper here. Obviously I see a little bit of green there, so I'm pretty sure I know what's in this order, but I'm not 100% sure. So if we take off this brown paper, you can see it is a whole lot of leaf parts and a whole bunch of vines and that sort of thing to help build up the mountain. And in fact, I ordered 1,000, or I think more, maybe it was 2,000, but it was definitely over 1,000 of these leaf parts. So that is just an absolute ton of those leaf parts. And I ordered so many because I have a design for doing all of the vines, and basically all of them require so many leaves, so I might have to order more of these, but for now we have a nice cool couple thousand of them. You can see I also ordered some of these sort of leaf parts there, as well as some of these kind of stems in that olive green color, and some more stems in that light green, and some of these kind of plant parts. And lastly, what I ordered, because I saw these being used a lot, are these big huge leaf parts, and I've never really used them before, and they also come with this kind of like holder thing or like attachment thing around them. And what I've seen people do is you can take this attachment off, obviously, but then you can use this actual thing as like vines and Lego pieces. And I believe that they work like really well because they're bendable, and they should work really well for vines. And then lastly, here in the Bricklink Order, there are just a bunch of these. Those are the light translucent blue tiles. That's a tongue twister to say, but those are going to be helping with building up the rest of the lake there. So all of these are gonna like fill in the cracks and all that, and then we'll also add in some like tiles to add maybe a little bit of like waviness to it, but all of those should help finish off the lake. So we have an absolute buttload of parts, so let's hit our first time lapse of the episode and do a little bit of structure and maybe even a little bit more of the terrain and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and hit that time lapse. So during the time lapse here, I'd just like to apologize and say that my microphone has been having quite a few issues recently, as you heard with the last clip. So I'm hopefully figuring out all of the problems with it, but hopefully soon everything will be working fine and good, and I can just record without having to worry about the microphone settings. So for the rest of this time lapse, just enjoy some sweet, sweet tunes. So I hope you enjoyed that time lapse, and now basically every single one of the cubicles are now complete. So Grumbot is looking a lot healthier and better, and now we have the other pool floaty, the flamingo, and also the hobbit hole interior is looking a lot better as well. And as for Sahara, it's relatively the same, and right now it just says HR. I guess that's the name of Sahara now. So we have HR there, the hobbit hole, and the pool floaties and Grumbot are basically all done. And behind them, what you can see there is what we worked on, is all of that kind of inner structure and all of that. And I know it's kind of repetitive and boring, and that's kind of what I cut the time lapse up. And so I'm probably going to do all of this blank side off camera, so you won't have to see all of that, as it is quite repetitive. But one of the cool little things that I put into this side is this door here, and it's a little bit difficult to open up there, but this door, that is where all of the electronics are going to be. So inside that kind of little tiled off area is where all the battery packs and electronics are going to be. And then you can see that little hole in the back, that's where all the wires will be going through to hopefully be lighting up maybe Grumbot and probably definitely the pool floaties here, because if I cover up this up here, it's going to be quite dark inside. So that is basically everything that we got done in the time lapse. But just recently, a new Bricklink order came, and this Bricklink order has a couple of parts here, but it mainly has a bunch of Minecraft heads. And you can probably see where I am going with this. These are going to be helping to clone Mumbo Jumbo into each of these scenes. So then we have, you know, a Mumbo here, a Mumbo here, a Mumbo here, and a Mumbo in Sahara. And we also have some regular Steve heads there for Iskall, who is in a couple of scenes here. But yeah, these will all be helping to create a little bit more life and minifigures in the build. And you guys may also see that I have like this kind of Lego bracelet here. This actually came with the Bricklink order, and I guess the guy was just super nice who sent it to me, and he added this in as extra, so it's just a cool little bracelet, and it has a couple of little Lego studs there, so I really like it. I probably won't be wearing it all the time, but you know, it's just a kind of little cool thing that was sent for free with the Bricklink order. So I guess the grind is going to continue for me, and I'm going to complete all of the inner structure for this area and finish off that area. So let's go. Sorry to let you guys down, but apparently I did not have enough parts to complete this entire side. And so I guess to remedy that problem, I'm going to be heading to the Lego store, I think today, to grab a bunch more of these 2x4s and a bunch more 2x6s, so then we can finish all of this kind of base structure here. And now I know that doing this sort of design with all of these bricks like just stacked on top of each other isn't really a very efficient use of bricks. And I'm just doing this for the base layer because I want it to be really sturdy and just a really stable, a little bit heavy foundation, so then everything that we build up above won't like have any stability issues or any of that. So yeah, it's too bad that I couldn't get the structure in place in this episode, but hopefully I will be doing that in between episodes. And so you guys can probably tell that I'm kind of ending the episode here. I know it's quite a short episode as I just sort of got this side done, but this does take a lot of work, and it's kind of like doing a puzzle of just like plunking parts in for a very long time, you know, trying to figure out where everything is going to go. But another thing that you may have seen is that I have put the covers on both of these scenes, and obviously it's a little bit dark right now, but I have gone ahead and installed some lights. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep these lights because they're not bright enough, and they're also rainbow colored, so some of them come out a little bit more blue, and these ones over here are a little bit more red and white colored. So I might be switching out those lights, but at least with them in, then it makes these scenes kind of light up and you can actually see in them, and you can actually see Iskall back there on his pink flamingo. Because if we turn them off again here, little switch, you can see Iskall just sort of disappears into the darkness and you can't really see him at all. And as well with Grumbot, you can't really see his face too well either. So maybe you guys will be able to see it in there a little bit, but there's just a bunch of wires kind of all throughout that area. And when you come up above to the backside here, you can see the wire just traveling through there, and then the battery pack is just sitting in this little compartment that I made. So it's quite a little simple design, but it works, and I may be changing out those lights for a little bit more powerful, brighter ones. And another thing that came in the mail was the rest of the letters for Sahara. So Sahara is now complete, and you can see all those minifigures there, which I guess I forgot to show you guys or mention yet. So you can see we have Mumbo Green and Iskall there. We have Mumbo in his hobbit hole. We have Mumbo and Iskall over here on the pool floaties, and then finally we have Mumbo Green and Grumbot. So I went ahead and cloned a bunch of these Mumbos. In fact, if I reach back here, I have one more Mumbo minifigure still to use probably in the rest of this build, but I haven't put on any of the prints yet, so it's just a Enderman head with a Lego suit, which is actually kind of very close to Mumbo's actual suit in Minecraft. This is an actual Lego printed piece, and it's actually very, very close to Mumbo's skin. So yeah, I just gotta put the prints on that guy. So then we will have, I think, 5 Mumbo Jumbos and 3 or 4 greens, I believe, 1 Scar and 3 Iskals. So we have a lot of minifigures to use. So thank you all for watching. I know this is a little bit slow start and I'm waiting for all those Bricklink orders to arrive, but once they do, then we'll be able to do a bunch of things, like hopefully completing all of this kind of canyon area with all the rock work, and also doing all the inner structure and all of that, plus also probably a plethora of other things that I still have to do. Oh, actually, I don't know if I showed this either yet on camera, but I added a little bit more texture to the lake with a couple of studs poking out there. So I added that little bit of texture, and it makes the lake look a lot more fluid and in motion, and all the parts I put on top are kind of like showing us the way that the water would flow, so it kind of like swirls around where the waterfall would be and then kind of comes back over this way. So thank you ever so much for watching, and hopefully between episodes I can finish all of that structure on the right side there. And finally here, I would just like to say, if you guys would like to support me further, then head over to patreon.com/gigahertz, and then you can donate any amount that you want, and all of that money will go straight back into ordering, building Lego. And also, I have a brand new channel, so if you guys are interested in mountain biking content, then I'll be uploading mountain biking and bike related stuff on that channel. So go check that out if you want to. The name of the channel is Megahertz. And with that said, Gigahertz Productions, out.